Morning, morning, colleagues. There is coffee and tea outside. We plan to start in the next 10 minutes. So if you don't want to have some coffee, please grab some coffee so we can start in the next 10 minutes. Good morning. Let's start. My name is Ronald Ramaburana. I'm going to to help you out, facilitate these discussions today. I also serve on the board of the Christianity Development Agency. So you're welcome to this session. We have a fairly long agenda, but I will try to make sure that we finish on time. We are slightly late, but we'll make up time as we move on. We're still expecting a few more people to come, but we thought we should start rather than delay those who are here on time. So you're welcome. Due to flight challenges, we are forced to reshuffle our agenda a little bit. But when we do that, I will guide you through that. I'm excited that we're having this session today, and I was talking to my colleague there that guys at ESCOM kind of like knew that we're having this session today, and they organized the longest round of load shedding we've ever experienced in order for us to appreciate that renewables are the way to go. And we're saying that even if ESCOM and South Africa invest in another nuclear power plant, or if you take a 30-40 year view, probably 40% of our energy should be coming from renewables. I have no doubt about that. And we have an abundance of natural resources in terms of water, sunlight. So we should be investing a lot more in renewables, and we should be deliberate about that. So this is exciting, and you're welcome. I think we are going to do two things today. We are going to engage on a topic we like. Secondly, we are going to learn a lot more and keep an open mind in terms of the information we get, but we are going to have long-lasting partnerships that benefit not just investors, not just academics, but the district at large, and hopefully some of the younger people who are looking for innovative opportunities in new industries. I was saying to a colleague of mine that the kids that we are raising these days have opportunities. They don't have to worry about wanting to be a policeman or doctor or lawyer or a teacher. They can get into industries that we actually don't know of, because some of these industries haven't been discovered as yet. So let me save a bit of time and not talk too much. We are expecting to get a word of welcome from our executive mayor, and I know that it's out of the country, but he has connected, and he wants to spend a bit of time talking to you about the topic, welcoming you, and he feels very strongly about this, that even though he's out of the country, he made time to talk to you. So let me welcome the executive mayor and then ask him to welcome you all. Is there anything I need to do?
A program director, the deputy chairperson of the Krizani Development Agency, deputy chairperson of the board, Mr. Marapulana, the chairperson of the board. I am not sure if he is connected yet. Advocate Mini, the executive mayors and mayors of various local municipalities within the district of Krizani. I have not been alerted that they are indeed physically in the meeting or alternatively connected. I do know that the invitation was extended to all 6 municipalities, and in instances where your executive mayor or mayor is not present, we had impressed upon the municipalities that the members of the mayoral committees, or alternatively members of the executives and councillors, must equally be invited and represent the local municipalities. The esteemed representatives of business and investors and or potential investors, eminent panelists, the Krizani Development Agency and the Krizani Cooperative Development Center board members who are a part of this very important session, members of the Investment Advisory Committee of the district, a committee which was established immediately after a very successful 2-day summit, investment and development summit held in our own district. Of course, the Investment Advisory Committee of the district is chaired by Mr. Chefuta. The traditional leaders who may be in our midst, the distinguished members of various SMMEs and cooperatives who are part of this very important session, government officials and other state-owned entities, members of the media who may be part of this important session, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, good morning. And as the program director said earlier on, I would have loved to be a part of this session physically, but as circumstances would have it, I am unable to join physically. But I then requested that a link be availed so that I can then connect and share a few welcoming remarks with yourselves. Indeed, it is my singular pleasure, Program Director, to once more warmly welcome all of you to our friendly district, a district which is blessed with natural endowments that could indeed propel our economic development and in a process assist with job creation. We indeed meet here today during, as again, how you also shared with us, Program Director, our meeting during unprecedented load shedding, without an end in sight, which this roundtable must act with agency to provide solutions and hope for the people of our district. The world economic turbulence we are experiencing today has far-reaching impact to the most vulnerable sections of our population, and in a process exacerbating poverty levels in our own communities. The weaker currency, the weaker levels of growth, higher interest rates, all of these give rise to rising cost of energy, raw materials, rising pressure and uncertainty on how to cope moving forward. The continuing war of Ukraine and Russia and the looming winter in Europe have also increased demand of diesel, thus necessitating its local rising costs as well. This moment of uncertainty has put all of us at sea, where a cloud of anxiety hangs over the unemployed, working people, and indeed the middle strata. We're expected as the leadership of the district and indeed perhaps of the province and indeed of the country to provide leadership. And we must stand with the poor and the working people in these times of difficulties. We must indeed rise to the challenge of meeting their ambitions for real change, and for real change to happen, we should be, as I said earlier on, provide leadership in order to ensure a better life for all and provide a true meaning to that needed change for a better life for all. We must urgently create through energy mix transition towards building a fairer, greener, more dynamic district. And in doing so, we must not be afraid to use the power of government to help working people succeed. Indeed, we are a developmental state, and a developmental state should indeed not shy away from intervening in ensuring that its own people indeed can succeed. As we transition towards renewable energy, that is economically secure, clean, affordable to produce electricity and food, we must ensure beneficiation of our people and communities in a process, and to do so without fail. We can't indeed go on like we have not seen in the past. Lessons that can be drawn must indeed assist us in pushing forth. And indeed, the prevalent levels of inequality are indeed noticeable and dividing our communities. As we solidify this partnership with the private sector program director, we must also provide leadership towards our Vision 2030 goals. We must use the lessons from this sector and others to strengthen our sectoral growth plans and partnerships to increase investment and infrastructure or investment in infrastructure in our area. We must, as government, improve our planning and stick to those plans. I have always argued that we must, as a district, focus more on investing in planning, because it is out of those plans and the subsequent implementation of those plans that we can indeed make a dent. We must prioritize and improve the provision of basic services to our communities at all costs, as they deserve better from their own government. As the fiscus and our revenue is shrinking, and that speaks to all spheres of government, we must ensure that we stretch the rand through efficient solutions. This initiative, which we must commend the Krizani Development Agency, the Krizani Cooperative Development Center, the Krizani District Municipality, and all its partners. This initiative must then bring hope to our people and communities, and indeed not to mention businesses who are severely hurt by the effects of load shedding. Other businesses are contemplating to leave our shores as a result of that. Others are on a perpetual short time, whilst their products are indeed on demand and have in a process as businesses contractual obligations to fulfill. This is also affecting food production as the cost of running agricultural farms is becoming more exorbitant, affecting their life savings. We must work diligently to turn this tide and make our district more investor-friendly with excess energy for production in line with our friendly improved roads, rail, and less used airstrips in our district. These program director are indeed issues and lessons raised in the investment summit, that for us to be able to have a district which is investor friendly, there are certain things that must then happen, and some of those include what we ought to do as government in ensuring that the environment is then created for investment. And indeed, energy is but one of those issues. Together, our success comes first and foremost from the hard work and the common sense of our own people. We must say it loudly. We must say it very loud and believe it, that we will deal with the energy crisis and get our future back. What better way than to invest in different forms of energy? We must work towards our Vision 2030, where aspiration is rewarded, where working people succeed, and clean energy superpower. Let us work together to build a better future for our children and generations to come. Let us create sustainable jobs, economic empowerment, and sound investments. I believe, Program Director, with these few words, the roundtable as convened today should be able to provide that platform where there should be fruitful discussions, decisions taken, and indeed all of us being propelled towards providing much needed solutions, especially as they speak to other forms of energy. I indeed, Program Director, look forward to your fruitful discussions during the entire day. Of course, I intend to spend a bit of time as I'm connected virtually, and where possible, to also contribute in the discussion. Everyone, Program Director, is most welcome, and thank you very much for providing this opportunity. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor, for those words. It is indeed a good start to the program. We will have space in the program to discuss some of the issues that will have been raised by different speakers. But before I call the next speaker, let me just say I greatly encouraged by your words in terms of spending a bit more time in planning and CEO, from the summit to this roundtable, work that has been done between those shows that that need and what you're doing in terms of spending a bit more time in planning. And I think we need to do a bit more on that. I like your talk in terms of provision of basic services, as well as creating an investor-friendly district. You touched on issues in terms of inclusivity and partnerships with private sector. I'm not going to repeat everything you've said, and we're going to create space for a discussion. So thank you very much, Executive Mayor. I am going to call two people One, it's Ms. Nyukwana, who is the Executive Manager Operations and CHDA, to come and introduce us to some of our leadership in the room. But I'm also, after that, going to call Dr. Kaseke to come and introduce his team from Stellenbosch University. But before Ms. Nyukwana does that, I am going to also say that I have one of our CHDA board members with me here, Dr. Keo, sitting there with me. So I thought I must just introduce her as well. Ms. Nyukwana?
Thank you, Program Facilitator, our Board Deputy Chairperson. Greetings to the Executive Mayor, connected, MMC members traveling all the way from the Salga local government activities which has been held, and various leadership from all the municipalities, executive mayors, speakers, chief whip, MMC members, who we expect them to join as we are proceeding. The board chairperson of Krisani Development Agency. Again, I wish to greet Mr. Marabulana as our deputy chairperson and the board member present, and the board members connected who are not physically part of this session in this venue today. Let me say our guests, because I'm going to do the introduction to save time, so as not to go and greet each one of you, because I still have to introduce. Let me just say good morning. I've been introduced already as Nomveliso Nyukwana, the Executive Manager for Krisani Development Agency. I'm responsible for operations there. Let me say I'm responsible for everything which is not really directly financial related. But it's not what I'm tasked to do here. I'll first introduce the Executive Mayor who was presenting there, Honorable Councillor Ongama Gela, who's heading our district, which is Krisani District Municipality. And also in our presence, introduce the councillor who's already joined us. We have amongst ourselves Councillor Mhlangabezi Mangotya, who's responsible for Inokum Kichima infrastructure. If you can raise the hand so that the people could see. Okay, he's in. He might be around, but he's already knocked in. He was seated there. And we also have our board members, which I've introduced. I won't reintroduce them, as the facilitator has done well that for me. I'll just introduce our acting CEO, Mr. Abongile Hala. If you can show the hand so that the people know. Thank you. And I will introduce amongst the officials who have joined us. Please do pardon me. I won't be able to introduce each and every official, but I'll acknowledge the municipality and just one official. If it's an NM or any senior official present amongst ourselves, we have Mr. Sonwabile Nomandela from Ingoba Yetemba. Oh, thank you. You've changed the seat. And we also have amongst ourselves our stakeholders, who are the industries, owners, cooperatives, SMEs. And some of them are in the actual primary production, but these are the people we think this program will, if implemented, it seems as if I doubt, as this is part of its implementation, from understanding the framework and the policy perspectives involved, will benefit more. As this is not only for business, it's also for improved livelihood, as households will benefit and business will benefit. Among the industries we have the representation from Twiza, Mr. Robert Williamson. Thank you. Twiza is the top employer in South Africa for the 2022. Am I right, Rob? Yes, you qualify. Thank you. And we have Truda Foods. Truda Foods is represented by Dean Goldsmith, and I'm sure he's accompanied by someone. Can you show your hand? All from Truda? Truda is the top employer in terms of numbers in the park. Yeah, he employs something up to 1,000, ne? Yes. You might also note that in the attendance list of today, we have a column for the number of people employed, and there's a reason for that. And I'll touch that towards the conclusion. We have Go Green Rotoplastic Molding is also part of the industries in the common industrial park. Among them is Mr. Ntwasa Michael and the partners. Can you show up, Mr. Ntwasa? Thank you. We have an industry which is called AL Asiri, but commonly known as AR boards. They are represented by Funeka Mlalonde, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, if you can show up. Thank you. It's also in the Common Industrial Park. We have, among our businesses who are in the primary production, Mr. Vukile Hlongwana of Amadlelo. Mr. Sondro, represented by Mr. Sondro Zolile and Mr. Saki Jumagote. Thank you. We also have a cooperative by the name of Sikona Design, represented by Miss Kosi Chaya. There's a story about him as well, about her as well. She's selected for eliminations in the program of Productivity SA. So we'll have our name there, Mr. Ramulana. Once they mention Sukonanati, and we have all the wishes for the trip and the journey he's going to take. It is not going to be for that company, it's going to be for the Krisani. We have Maime Cooperative, represented with a delegation led by Mr. Selbon Ekane. Thank you. That is the cooperative which is producing grapes which we use for wine. So if you've seen any wine at Pick and Pay, at Black Swan, one of the B&Bs here, also at the Heritage Guest House, and amongst many places, with the label Inkosi wine, with the label Winterberg wine, with the label 045. You know, almost the code for Komani, you must know that is the footprint of that primary cooperative. And then with the plans they're having, they expect to have a lot of benefits from this session once it finds its application on the ground. We have a cooperative representing Konga Irrigation Scheme, represented by Mr. Zolani Nochekwa. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We are known of many irrigation schemes here which are large. This is one small irrigation scheme which expects to, not to hear about it, to see its product in our recently launched fresh produce pack house in Common Industrial Park. Mr. Mzeke pha ulolu mhlaba kowabo. Umhlaba kwakuthiwa ngowabantu abazawusebenza. It's not just only heritage, those who work it. I also wish to also acknowledge the presence, though I didn't do it, the other organizations of Mr. Mtutuzeli Mchiselwa because of his unique role in the Maime cooperative. Okay. Within that, we know in the cooperatives, we normally have a structure, which is a governance structure, also have an official, organizational structure. But among the board members of the structure, he's the one who's linking with the investors. So anyone who wishes to make a contribution there in terms of the investment is welcome to liaise with him. In terms of media houses, we have our media houses. The space is contested a lot. The premier is around to support some of our programs on piggery and dairy production. But be that as it may, we feel very honored to have media houses amongst us because it means what is of interest to the community will reach their ears with the right message, right content to make a boom or up with their spirit and hope that what was the direction to address what is a challenge today, that of, or challenge of energy resources. So present so far is Vukani Community Radio. Yes, they are represented by at least 2 people. We also have Lukanje FM. Thank you. We, amongst ourselves, have a number of stakeholders I have mentioned, and we have those who are in government. I wish to acknowledge the presence and introduce Ms. Candice Moodley from Energy Water Services SITA, from Energy and Water SITA, excuse me. Thank you. So what we have with that SITA will be shared by her. So as we are faced by the crisis of the supply, it's not only infrastructure which is a challenge, there's also a skills challenge. So we want to address both. Because if we need to have any investment, there are jobs, but there must be requisite skills, both from the planning level up to the actual operational level. So hence his presence is here. But we'll get a lot from her presentation as he's in the program. Of course, without order, I'll go to other stakeholders we have who are very much critical to us as the agency. For our mandate is to facilitate. For most of them, they resource our plans, they actually implement our programs for our objectives to be achieved. We have our critical stakeholder, which is Chris Hani Cooperative Development Center. They are led by Mr. Zingisa Jolai. I don't see where he's seated. Oh, yes, there at the corner. Yes. And most of the time, people used to confuse ourselves, which is a good confusion. We are just a blend. Because our model of economic development in Krisani, for it to succeed, is based on primary production. And if you want to have organized business, right at the primary level, you'll find co-ops, and hence their relevance to us. Even with the big investors, if they need milk, there has to be milk from some communities. So it's not always industry to industry. In the value chain, there must be the producers. Mr. July is with his team. We also have a representation from the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. We are having them represented by Mr. Rory Hashik, if I'm pronouncing correctly. Thank you. I'm pausing to give an honor to the arrival of the Executive Mayor of Inqoba-Ethemba, Her Worship, Councillor Noncedo Zonke. I don't have the capacity to say she must show the house where she is. On her honored wishes, she can show. Thank you. Is with the Chief Whip of Inqoba-Ethemba. Okay, yes, Councillor Davis. Councillor Davis is with the Chief Whip of Inqoba-Ethemba, Councillor Davis. I always make, sometimes I make it Declared, sometimes I make it Chief Whip, because with small municipalities, you'll find a person occupying both positions. So pardon me if I don't give you your other position, but I think the critical one for today is that of being a Chief Whip. Yes, so that this is whipped to the right direction. Thank you. We have a representative who will be connected live. Christianity Development Agency, having mandated to manage Komani Industrial Park, is participating in the Eco Industrial Park program. For the representation of CSIR, we're having Mr. Henry Nwarinda. He's not yet connected. We're not going to speak, so we're going to see him. I'm sure he's just watching live where he is. He couldn't get a flight. Hence, most of the councillors, Honorable, you want it, Honorable? I almost said Honorable CEO. Hence, most of the councillors CEO are not yet arriving. They're still driving Prefontaine around north because they couldn't get a flight. Though they wanted to be physical here, so we'll see them as the day is moving. We have our other critical stakeholder who's very central in our roles is Eastern Cape Rural Development Agency, SRDA, represented by Mr. Mzimkhulu Zenzele. Thanks a lot. We have amongst our municipality, a municipality called Malahleni. It is named after the coal deposits we have, which are not yet used, which we believe, we understand the international protocol signed, but we believe technology could be used to explore the coal in a friendly manner, given the fact that it's a low carbon emitting coal. But understanding the mandate of the department that it also includes the use of renewables in the energy. So the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy is represented by Mr. Siyabonga Zondi. If you can show up where he is. Thank you. Among our stakeholders on IGR, we have Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, represented by Mr. Melvin Swartz. Yes, thanks a lot. Is also with Mr. Ramal Singh. Thank you. I won't give a narrative. We're known as an agricultural district. And there's Mr. Stemela Kailetu from Department of Rural Development and Agricultural Reform. Thank you. So far, if I've missed any stakeholder to introduce, so I wish to apologize. The event is hosted in partnership. We were at the summit, and that was not the first summit. And there are a lot of summits that we held. They are held all over in the country and all over in the world. But what remains, what is the post-summit action? And for the post-summit action, as was committed in the summit, we have the University of Stellenbosch. And who are they bringing to us and how are they bringing that for our benefit? Is for Dr. Kaseke to inform us. But I'm not the program director. I'll just show you who Dr. Kaseke is. Thank you. Thank you, program director. I'm given that honor to hold the mic and give it to you. Okay, thank you. Just a minute. I want then to explain in 1 second why the program, and in our attendance star, we have got the age, the gender, the abilities, and the number of employees, but stick on the number of employees. As we are gathered here, we have a lot of employees. But what is affecting productivity now is not the morale, it's the energy. So as we are planning